Howdy, Holeheads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host, Mrs. Columbo. And we are here to rank all the Mission Impossible movies, including the new one, from worst to best. All 8 of them, the definitive ranking happening now. This is Cave Waves. Cave Waves. First up, worst of the series, Mission Impossible 2. Even she knows it. This is a no-brainer. For all the wild rankings that you're going to see out there of all these movies, I mean, there are some real cuckoo bananas rankings out there. But I think that what we can all agree on is this one's the worst. This one is absolutely the worst. It's not a full-on bad movie. It is, after all, a John Woo film. But it's just got some real groaners in there. Like this rock climbing sequence with the credits. If TC really did this, I mean, it looks scary, okay? And I couldn't imagine someone for real doing that, not attached to something. But with the camera moves in and all of us posing and looking at the cam and that music, like this is not cool. This is not how I want to spend my time with Ethan Hunt. Then he gets to the top and puts on those lame as hell wraparounds to get his mission. And it's like, these aren't cool either. Please toss them and make them blow up. Also, I've seen this one probably 3 or 4 times now since the theaters. And every time I rewatch it, every single time I forget that Sir Anthony Hopkins is in this thing. Every time. Every time I hear his voice, I'm like, wait, what? Like, he is definitely a footnote of this series. Like, do you ever associate Anthony Hopkins with Mission Impossible?
No.
And I mean, it's for a good reason, too. Half the stuff, he has 2 full scenes in this movie, and most of the time you're not liking what's coming out of his mouth. Okay? Talk about groaners. They do this vacations is not a vacation unless you don't know about it thing.
Sorry I didn't let you know where I was.
Don't be. It wouldn't be a vacation if you did.
They call that back at the end.
I'll let you know where I'm going.
It wouldn't be a vacation if you did.
Lame. And then there's a line where he's like talking about what women are for and like, ugh. I think it's all no good.
But to go to bed with a man and lie to him, she's a woman. She's got all the training she needs.
So much of this stuff that the filmmakers thought was cool is not. I mean, first and foremost, Ethan Hunt, he's not a cool guy. Okay? They think he is in this movie, but he's not. And the sooner they figure that out, the sooner these movies get a hell of a lot better. But there's just, I don't know, there's so much stuff in here that's supposed to ooze cool. There's too much slow-mo. There's too much smooching and like gazing at Thandiwe Newton. There's just too many cool guy glares happening. There's some fun action, but it's just not working. And as a matter of fact, the second that Tom Cruise realized that Ethan Hunt is not cool is the second these movies got way better. That's when the franchise soared to new heights. And I know exactly when it happens, but I'm not ready to talk about it, because next on the list, we got to go back in time a little more. The second worst Mission Impossible movie is the original, the OG Mission Impossible from 1996. Sure, Ethan is still super cool in this one, and he's also a part-time magician, which is fun, but there's also a lot of him behind the 8 ball, and that's where we love our Ethan Hunt the most. Okay, we love him playing catch-up and out of breath and trying to figure out on the fly how to fix things. This is where he's the best, and that does happen in this movie. And look, let's be clear. While on paper, this is the second worst Mission Impossible, this movie rules and I love it, and it's a great movie. So I'd rather just call it the 7th best Mission Impossible. It's friggin' DePalma. It's the last great DePalma. It's got multiple iconic scenes that are remembered to this day some 30 years later, okay? Gum on the glass of the aquarium, water splashing, running away from the water. Boom. Famous. TC starfishing, hanging from the top of CIA headquarters. Boom. Sweat dripping. Iconic. These parts still get an audible reaction from me no matter how many times I've seen the movie. You know, but there's other parts that do as well. I mean, let's talk about it. Emilio biting it in the elevator shaft. Ooh, rough. Okay. Boom. And also, the starfishing scene, right? You know, it's famous for the balancing act, but lest we forget that we have a classic Jean Reno v. Rat scene up there in the ducks. Then you see the poor dead rat there in the corner. R.I.P. this rat. This is top tier filmmaking right here. Oh, I love it. I love it. I do love revisiting these old ones. I don't rewatch them as much as I do the newer ones. They're not as fresh in the grapes, but there's always little things I forget about, like they break into Langley by being firemen. And then after that great scene of the starfishing, we get to see them all back in their fireman gear driving away. I forget that. And then I forget that freaking Kittredge, to smoke Ethan out, arrests his mom and uncle for drug smuggling. And we see it on the news too. That's Mama Hunt right there getting arrested. And it works. Ethan's out there calling him up. I mean, God, cold move on Kittredge's part, but we know how Kittredge do, okay? God, was it cool to see him back in Dead Reckoning. Oh, and speaking of that, real quick, the Kurt Money you're talking to right now, current Kurt, has not seen the new one yet. I have yet to see the Final Reckoning. I've already got my ticket. I'm seeing it tomorrow at 3 p. And as soon as I do, I'm going to record a video to insert into this one, placing it where it ranks among all the rest. And based on the vibes I'm seeing of the reactions and the reviews of it, it's not great. Okay, now, hopefully these lowered expectations help me go in there and I have a friggin' blast. But if it goes the way I'm anticipating, I feel like Final Reckoning will be slotted in here as the third worst, right after the OG here. So I'm going to freeze, let Future Kurt pop in, do his thing. Future Kurt here. Bummer news, fam. Did not care for it. The last sequence with the plane, super dope, edge of my seat. But the other 2.5 hours, not for me. Very bummed. This isn't third to last on the list. This is second to last. So Future Kurt's gonna have to do some trickery with Current Kurt. But anyway, sorry Current Kurt. It's a stinkeroonie. A major bummer. Just a downer, man. Anyway, back to you, Current Kurt. Okay, thank you, Future Kurt. I really hope I'm wrong. Let's just roll with it and assume that the 8th movie is the 6th best out of all of them, which makes the 5th best movie in the series, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Again, it speaks to how great all these movies are, that there are 4 better movies ahead of this one. Because again, I love this movie too. There's a hell of a lot to love about it. I mean, minus the Part 1 part. I don't like any Part 1s. Get them out of here. Make one movie, please. Okay? And plus, like, it had a tough act to follow, because this is the one that came out after Fallout. So there were bound to be disappointed fans, but I think Dead Reckoning Part 1 is a banger through and through. Like, as these movies go on, they have to get, like, we become more and more aware of the ridiculousness of Ethan Hunt and the IMF, and I love this super meta scene where we're watching U.S. intelligence finding out about what IMF is, and then also finding out what it stands for. And there's Carrie Elways being like, what?
What does it stand for? Impossible Mission Force. You're not serious.
Love this. This whole scene is amazing. They're talking about how hard it is to catch Ethan and how he's slippery and he's always going rogue and blah, blah, blah. He's dangerous. Little do they know, Ethan is in the room. He's got a mask on back there. Oh, but first, he's got to open up this little box with a mask in it, like he's Joker and Batman, and Kittredge is his Vicky Vale, because they pop these on and then boom, colored smoke, everybody's knocked out. Now they can have a little heart-to-heart of like, Ethan's going to do what he wants to do and Kittredge is going to be mad about it. And then we have a great button to this scene where Kittredge is like, I don't know how you think you're going to get out of here. And he turns around and he's staring at himself because you know Ethan's got a Kittredge mask. Oh, this was awesome. Plus, the whole last act on the train is so good. This scene is killer in all the right MI ways. Not only does it have incredible action scenes, done for real by my boy TC here, this whole movie, we're watching Ethan on the run from multiple people. And then it all accumulates on this train with a final set piece, and they've threaded the needle where everybody's after the same thing plus Ethan. Like, this is textbook Mission Impossible plotting. I love it. All right, let's talk about the dead elephant in the room, and that is the untimely passing of Ilsa Faust on the bridge at the hands of Gabriel and the Entity. This was a huge bummer. I love me some Becky Fergs, okay? In a perfect world, she's with the rest of the gang throughout the rest of these movies, right? I wish I was seeing her face on the poster for Final Reckoning. But this is not a perfect world, and she, as an actor, felt like she could get more by doing other things. And like, she even talks about it, because it's like, you know,
there's a lot of waiting. And the more characters that are brought in, the more waiting. You know, by now I've shot 2 seasons of Silo. I've shot 2 Dune movies, and they're still on the movie.
So I can't fault her for that. She left on her own terms, and I'm happy she's happy. But look, I love Silo. Well, I love Becky Fergs. I like and enjoy Silo. But I would gladly swap 2 seasons of a mid-show just to get freaking Ilsa back in the mix for all these MIs. I mean, God, what an unbelievable character. And to see her die here is a mad bummer, because she's such a badass. But look, like I said, it's not a perfect world. So R.I.P. Ilsa, long live Grace. So be it. Next best is MI3, the one with JJ at the helm. And, well, it is smack dab in the middle of this list. I cannot stress enough its importance to the series. First, the obvious stuff. It's got the best villain ever, PSH, Philip Seymour Hoffman, being scary as hell, and truly threatening.
Whoever she is, I'm going to find her and I'm going to hurt her.
Dude is scary, dude is mad, and up until the very end, head whack, dude is carrying through on his threats. Like, he's getting back at Ethan just like he said he would for what happened up there on that plane. Evil, evil dude. And what a performance by PSH. I mean, no other villains in this series top this. That's a given. Now, 4 other movies top this, but I got a best villain crown goes to PSH. He's not the most important part of this movie, though. That honor goes to exactly 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 24 seconds into this movie. Ethan's doing another daring escape. It's not going smoothly. He has to jump out a window and release his parachute while guns are shooting at him, getting holes in the parachute. He's whipping around. They're down there in the car trying to catch him. He gets whipped into a window, and he thinks he's safe, right? He's laying there catching his breath. We get a funny part where he's looking at the rabbit's foot, and then he looks at the night janitor, like, hey, what's up? And then another gust of wind comes, pulls him right back out, right back into the thick of it. He's not done. He's got more to do. Now, this is the exact moment where Mission Impossible finds its footing and realizes what makes them special. And that is this face that Tom Cruise is making. How many times have we seen Ethan Hunt make that face of like he's genuinely scared and like thinking in the moment, what the hell am I going to do now? That's what makes this gold. I love it so much. That's why 3 is important. This was it. This is what defined the rest of the series. That's what unlocked the magic. This face, okay? He is, in a word, screwed and trying to figure a way out of it on the fly, literally. And he does so just by the skin of his teeth. God, I love it. That's Mission Impossible, my friends. Right there. And before we move on to the top 3 missions, we must never forget that at one point in time, Ethan Hunt's brother-in-law was Jesse Pinkman. I mean, I love this. It's so good. So in the lore, Ethan's mom was arrested for drug smuggling, and Ethan's brother-in-law for, 6 months or something, was friggin' Aaron Paul. Amazing. I love it.
Hello.
In at the number 3 spot is the 5th movie in the series, Rogue Nation, aka Rogue Nation. I don't know how to spell that, but that is how I say it. Rogue Nation rules. This baby is stacked with gold scenes. Right off the bat, we're opening up. We got Benji in a ghillie suit. We got freaking TC hanging off the edge of a plane. Great action set piece, but also hilarious because Benji can't figure out what door he's talking about. All right. And then what a nod to the bad guy before we cut to the title sequence. When Ethan's like got himself and he's about to escape with the bombs and he goes, pulls the ripcord, boom, title sequence. Oh, what a great start. What a great start. And then we see him get his like mission invitation, right? And this movie, as far as I know, this is the only movie where the mission invitation itself was a fake out by the bad guy. Like this was not a for real, if you choose to accept moment. This was the bad guy going, I'm not IMF, but I'm about to kill your ass.
Because we are the Syndicate, Mr. Hunt. And now we know who you are.
This was pretty cool, and I definitely didn't see it coming. And RIP that record store lady. I mean, that was sad. This thing is chock full of gold scenes, okay? We got the introduction of Ilsa Faust. Disgraced, and then not disgraced, and then disgraced again. Former agent of British intelligence. Love her to death. I mean, literally. She is such a badass in this movie. And so, I mean, talk about people who are cool. Ethan Hunt's not pulling it off. TC's not pulling it off. Becky Fergs, okay? Ilsa Faust is friggin' cool. Her whooping ass in the beginning, saving Ethan from torture when he's like, and he has to do that hop up where he's like, and then later at the opera, she's got that yellow dress with the blue waist thing, that pan up her leg when she's getting the gun ready to fire. I mean, this is top-notch stuff here. I mean, I freaking love it. What a babe. What a badass. Boom. I mean, that opera sequence is so good at so many different things. I just love it. And another time for Benji to shine when he's at the office and Baldwin is like, give him a lie detector test to see if he knows where Ethan is. Speaking of Benji and Simon Pegg, let's go ahead and move on to the second best Mission Impossible movie of all time. And that's going to 4th in the series, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, aka Ghost Prots. This movie rules so hard.
Light the fuse.
It may be the second best MI movie. It's the funniest, though. And that has a lot to do with it being the friggin' Benji show, okay? And that's the magic of having Simon Pegg in your movie. Like the banter between Benji and Ethan, albeit silently on Ethan's part, but when he's busting Ethan out of the Russian prison, right? And Ethan's going like, unlock everything, do it. And Benji's like, I know what this means, I'm not doing it. And he's like, do it. Love it. And it's just so Ethan can get his prison pal, Bogdan. Now, talk about laughs. Bogdan delivers, okay? His whole like, Sergey is not Sergey?
Are you not Russian?
Like every moment he has is hysterical on a level where it's almost cartoon character, right? Like, and that speaks to it being a Brad Bird flick. This was his first live action movie. There's some cartoon moments. Bogdan gets shot in the neck and goes, friends. And then they pull him out into the other van. Love it. So good.
I thought you said the Kremlin. This
whole delivery is so hilarious and only works because you've got Simon Pegg doing it. Like, his role has been filled before. Like, for instance, in part 2, the Benji in that movie did not deliver.
I'll have a look around.
No offense to this Australian dude, okay? But you're not Simon Pegg And it shows in some of those laughs in that movie. But you got Simon Pegg doing it here in Ghost Prots, and it's super hysterical.
I don't mean to bring up the elephant in the room, but what's with the big hairy Russian?
This is why I love having friggin' Benji in the field now, because then we go right to the scene at the Kremlin, where he's with Ethan, bitching and moaning because he doesn't get to wear a mask. That's all he wants to do is wear a friggin' mask.
Everybody gets to wear a mask but Benji.
This whole sequence is great. The hallway thing with the iPad and the projection and the eye follower and the little dink thing that makes like water drops appear so the guy looks away. All this, gold. Absolute gold. Oh, and also Benji, his face popping up in the cam when they're moving it forward. Hilarious. It's just killer scenes back to back from here on out. I mean, his escape from the French cop guy with the belt and stuff, so good. But like the main set piece of this though, really, when you think about the first Mission Impossible, if you associate one scene with that movie, it's the starfishing, it's TC trying not to sweat, and I think for Ghost Prots, this scene of Ethan scaling the giant skyscraper, that's what that scene is for Ghost Prots. I mean, these two are tied together in a movie full of excellent scenes and set pieces. This is the one, okay? This is the one. This was also the beginning of like, oh my God, Tom Cruise is really doing all this stuff. Like, I'm sure he was doing stunts and stuff before, but now is when this was part of the narrative of like, Tom Cruise is crazy. He's out here stunting it up himself. I remember just being slow clapping, going, TC, you got me. This whole scene, it's an unbelievable set piece, and for everybody involved. I mean, talking about Benji, I love how confident he is in Ethan's skills, even more so than Ethan is. And also that they just come to accept the fact that like Ethan's going to be able to do the impossible. Hilarious beginning to this.
I'm telling you, we can get to it from outside.
We?
I'm on the computer.
And then Ethan gets out there. One of the gloves isn't working, okay? He's got to improvise. We see it floating by. That was great. The rope's not long enough. He's got to do like this little sprint and backflip to make it into the open window. And we see this happen, and it's unbelievable. And then boom, smacks his forehead, only to be saved by his team. Like, all of this unfolding is just, this is textbook Mission Impossible greatness. This is what makes it rule so hard. Okay, this is that face we saw in part 3. That was Brad Bird and TC going, okay, let's do that for the whole movie. And this scene is a great encapsulation of that, and it works like gangbusters. You know, I love Ghost Prots, but there are yahoos out there who rank this at the lower end of lists. I mean, I've heard people say this is the second worst one. No. I don't know what the hell movie they're watching. Ghost Prots rules. And like here's one complaint I hear about Ghost Prots. The villain's weak. I don't think he's weak, but I've got to give that one complaint a little cred because, yeah, guess what? Everyone's going to look weak if you're following Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's just the way it is. And don't tell me the end is weak, because that parking garage stuff where they're falling level to level and they're fighting over the suitcase, awesome. And then I love that the bad guy kills himself to sacrifice so that he can get away from Ethan to ensure the bomb goes off. Ethan says, not today. Gets in a car, drives it over the edge, face first, smack into the ground level, crawls out, flicks the switch in time. Also, in time, 1, the bomb doesn't go off, and 2, bad guy hasn't died yet. He's over there laying on the ground going like, damn it. Love that. And we're actually going to see that again here pretty soon, but I love that. Plus, its very last scene makes up for a glaring omission cast-wise, and that is Ving Rhames is invited back to the table. I mean, literally, he's there catching up with Ethan, as Ethan is like regaling him with his adventures that he was on while he wasn't in it. Look, it would have been unforgivable if Ving Rhames had not been in this movie. I wouldn't be here for it, okay? And it's another reminder that Ethan's a friggin' dork, too, because what are we talking about? But Ethan is being like, yeah, I did really say mission accomplished. I did really say that. And Luther's like, dude.
You actually said that out loud. Mission accomplished.
I said it.
I'm still corny, Ethan.
Oh, and plus, at the very end, like he leaves Luther. They're drinking their beers. He walks off. He throws the hood up. He's walking into the mist. And we hear a little bit of his next mission. And it's about chasing down this terrorist sect called the Syndicate.
Now an emerging terror organization known as the Syndicate.
Now that could just be a throwaway, like, oh, Ethan's off on another mission. But that ends up being the big bad for the next 2 movies. I mean, you're probably thinking, yeah, big deal. They probably said it there on purpose. But Ghost Prots was a Brad Bird joint, and Christopher McQuarrie was not in the picture yet. McHugh didn't join until the next movie 4 years later. So, like, maybe they pulled it from this, but I just love that they stuck to it. So I gotta give them points here for continuity, boys. Love it, all right? Good move there. That's it on Ghost Prots. I gotta say, the theater experience of seeing that was unbelievable. The first time I tried to see it, food poisoning, had to leave. That part sucked. But then seeing it for real in theaters like a week later, unbelievable. It was a theater experience I never thought would be topped. Now, this was in 2011. Little did I know that just a short 7 years later, it would happen, and it would be topped by another entry in the Mission Impossible universe. And that's why we're here to the number one Mission Impossible movie of all time goes to Fallout, the 6th movie in the series. It's gotta be. This is another thing where it's like, part 2 is the worst. I feel like a lot of people are on board with saying 6 is the best. And it's easy to see why. And like, talk about theater experience, okay? A movie I loved so much. While I was in my seat during the credits are rolling. I'm sweating my ass off from an intense final set piece at the mountain and stuff. I'm buying tickets to the next show. I was at the 9 p.m. I saw the midnight show back to back. Now, I've seen a ton of movies more than once in the theaters. Okay, I think I saw La La Land like 9 times or something. I was just so taken aback and amazed at everything that goes down in this movie. I had to do it again.
Good, honey.
Look, this is the be-all end-all of action movies, okay? This is it. This is the best. Let alone best Mission Impossible movie, this is the best action movie of all time. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I got bad news for you, son. You're gonna be wrong, because this is the best. This is action movie as an art form at its finest. The TC and McHugh duo, they perfected what they started with Rogue Nation and friggin' delivered a perfect film with this baby. Fallout rules from front to back. I mean, it is just the best of the bunch. It is absolutely the best of the bunch, and it starts off with what might be the most satisfying fake room setup in the entire series. I don't remember when it hit me that Wolf Blitzer was not Wolf Blitzer, but I think I was buying it for a long time, and I remember super bumming in this moment. Because I was thinking, wait, when did these bombs go off? Wait, it's been a few weeks. What happened? What happened? Like, they totally got me on this dupe. Just as much as they got the guy in the bed. I don't know. I fell for this hook, line, and sinker. And of course, how satisfying was it to see Wolf Blitzer stroll in, mask comes off, and it's friggin' Benji. Friggin' Benji. Finally, he gets to wear the mask. After movies of bitchin'.
Everybody gets to wear a mask but Benji.
And it's actually the first of 2, because later we see him wear a mask as Lane, and it tricks Lark into exposing himself as the big bad of the movie. We already suspected Henry Cavill because of the little phone thing that he gave to Angela Bassett. We know that his real phone was busted. This is fake. So we know that Cavill was up to something, but it's in this moment, it's revealed that he's friggin' John Lark. He's the guy we're after right now. And it got to be friggin' Benji again. Oh, I love it. 2 great reveals right there. Speaking of Cavill, this was a villain turn for the ages. Okay, PSH, still the best villain of the series, but right there in second place and not far behind is Henry Cavill as August Walker, aka John Lark. He's credited as Walker, but he is John Lark, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's super evil in this movie. You hate him from the jump. Okay, and it's effective. And then he goes on to deliver just iconic ass moments for this series. Like, we've all seen the gif of him pumping his arms before he's whooping ass in the bathroom scene, right? Awesome. That was improv by Cavill. We got to give him all the credit for that. Dude's sexy as hell. And who can forget the mustache? A stash so important, they had to CGI it off Superman's face because Cavill was contractually obligated to keep it until he was wrapped on Fallout. That's dope. Okay? That is dope. The stash is real, and so is my undying love for Henry Cavill. This is the kind of performance that is so awesome. He's got a free pass in my books for all future roles. He can make stinkers from here on out. It doesn't matter because he's got Fallout on his resume, and he delivered in such a way where it's like, it's all good. And it's so funny because one of the reasons I had to watch this movie again back to back is because I was so angry at Henry Cavill's character at the beginning of this movie. Just the way how mean he is to Ethan Hunt and how he's disregarding his talk about the lightning up there in the plane before the halo jump. And the friggin' fact that he gets struck by lightning and doesn't say thank you to Ethan Hunt for saving his life. I was so furious in these moments. I had to see it again just to be able to watch this going, it's okay. I know that Ethan will prevail, but I was friggin' furious at him. So mad, but he rules. And I'm going to get back to Cavill here in a second, but while we're talking the halo jump scene, how freaking cool is this? And we all know that Cruise did it for real. Like, this took 106 takes of him making this jump and then cameras following him and stuff. I mean, it is so unbelievable that one, he's doing the jump for real. He's acting while he's doing it, okay? No one else would be able to do that. Actually, no one else would be legally allowed to do it. Thank God TC has the clout and pull that he does, because they couldn't even find a country that would let them shoot there. Because they were like, our insurance doesn't cover this. Okay? No. But thank God they did, and we get this scene, and it freaking rules. It rules so hard. Got him running over and catching Cavill who's passed out and stuff, giving him his air tube. Awesome. Freaking awesome. But what's nuts is, as great as that scene is, they go on to top it. At least once more, arguably, if not a few times. The motorcycle stuff, him going against traffic, him getting flung off the motorcycle, him diving in the middle of the roads or whatever. Awesome. awesome. And this fall of when he takes the spill, that's a practical stunt by TC. That's practical, baby. That's him taking those hits. Awesome. Then let's talk about the helicopter scene, okay? Or, excuse me, the helicopters scene. The last 40 minutes of Fallout are so insane. First of all, his ex-wife is there, okay? She has no idea, but the friggin' bad guy got her there on purpose so that she can be at ground zero when everything explodes.
Yeah. Thanks to our guardian angel.
Guardian?
So that's heavy stuff. And then Ethan has to chase down a helicopter, jump onto the payload, scale his way up the rope, get inside the helicopter, beat that dude up, and then chase Cavill in the other helicopter while he's driving it. This was awesome. And more of the, like, Tom Cruise is really doing this stuff type of stuff. He's in there. He had to get a friggin' helicopter's pilot license to be able to do this. And not only that, there wasn't room in the copter for, like, a camera operator. So not only is Tom Cruise for real flying a helicopter and for real acting, he's for real hitting record on the camera. That's bonkers. God, the end of this movie, I never get tired of watching this whole sequence, okay? I'm on my feet for most of this scene. Because, mind you, while all this awesome stuff that Tom Cruise is really doing, there are other characters that have their own ticking clocks that they've got to solve before Ethan can solve all of it by finding the little clicker to turn it off. The end of this movie is so intense. Between the bomb diffusing and then finding out where Lane is, and then we got to save Benji, and Ilsa's got to do this. Like, it's all just so awesome. Look, this is, in my opinion, the greatest last act of a movie ever. Not just action movies, not just the Mission Impossible movies, of all movies. You're not topping this. Like, somebody was like, well, what about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Great end of a movie. Great end. But I got to give an edge to this one, okay? I mean, this is as good as it gets. Oh, and remember how some people were bummed out at the end of Rogue Nation? The fact that Lane didn't die? Like, they captured him in the box. People were bummed out about that, okay? McHugh and TC heard that and said, okay, well, how about now? We see Cavill die a hell of a death, okay? This is how you kill a villain. He's hanging there on the rope. Ethan's like shaking the rope to try and get him off. And then he goes, oh, I remember the hook up there is loose. Pulls on it real hard. We see this hook come flying down. Boom! Freaking hook Cavill in the forehead. Pulls him down. He's dead. And then it all explodes. I mean, talk about a satisfying end to what was a near unkillable bad guy. I mean, he was super awesome. And to see him go out like this, it's just... And honestly, that forehead, it takes me back to the OG one with Emilio, biting it with a forehead slam. So that seems fitting. But anyway, so that's going to do it for the definitive ranking of all 8 Mission Impossible movies. This was it. No need to ever rank them again. I done did it. The only thing that's going to make me change this ranking is if they do a 9th one, okay? Because they've got such a run of greatness, I'd be A-okay with that. And speaking of greatness, I leave with you this one piece of advice. Recognize TibitBoat before you go to bed tonight. We're having fun here with the Mission movies, and it's all about TC today, but please, at the end of the day, know that TibitBoat still stands. TibitBoat.